Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and we are working on the Forgotten 39 Hot Rod project. And last time, we got the rear panel, or we got the old crappy rear panel cut out. We got the new one kind of mocked up, and we got all this cancer cut out of the bottom corner that was just really ugly. For a reminder, this car, we're not doing like a full show restoration. We're just trying to get this car solid, safe to drive, and back on the road. We're gonna just leave the crappy paint and embrace it for now, and just the idea is just to save the car. So we do need to address this corner here. I looked online since the last video. I could not find a replacement panel. I was hoping I could make my life easier, and Bob Drake or Max or somebody offered the this corner here, and I could just put it in place, weld it on, be on to the next part of the project. Not the case. We're gonna have to make it because I don't have a donor car that has a good piece. So what we're gonna do is take a pattern from the other side that is in decent shape, so we can get an idea of the shape, and then we're gonna make this. This is actually kind of a complex piece, so we're gonna have to make it out of a few pieces, at least 2, if not 3 pieces or more. So I'm gonna show you the process for doing that, and we'll get it welded in. All right, so we're gonna use this side, since it's pretty solid, as our pattern here. I cut the other side off basically right at this top line where the top of the lower trunk pin, or the lower pan sits, so we know we can make our pattern from about there. So lay some of this body shop paper over here, masking paper. So, and if you have dirty hands or gloves, you can use them to kind of get your shape here. So what I'm trying to do is just establish the outside lines so we know overall about how big the panel needs to be on the face of it, but we need to add extra. But you can see the paper wants to bunch up here because of the same thing the metal is going to want to do. Alright, so there's our bottom of our panel. Almost don't even need a marker this time. Alright, so we'll cut this out and see how it fits and start putting some notes on it. Cut this oversized here. Cut it straight across the back panel. Actually gonna leave some extra. All right, so what we got here. Shove that in there. All right. There's our piece we're basically going to make. Okay. Rid of all the fat. All right. So first thing we're going to want to tackle is this opening here for the bumper mount. So we're going to try and replicate as close as we can. This one's a little deformed, as you can see. So we're going to try and use our imagination and use this as a guide. So what I'm going to do, just to save myself a lot of walking back and forth, is use a piece of 3/32 TIG wire and bend it around. Oop, a little long. Bend it around as a guide, and we're going to make this opening first out of sheet metal. That's going to be one of our pieces because we need to make this flange. It's there. Go down about there. Fold it parallel. All right. So that's probably about what that's supposed to look like. Maybe it pinches in a little bit more, but just something to sort of go by when I'm making this. I can at least have some kind of reference. We'll have to adjust it, but that's what we're going to use. So we're going to get a piece of, I'm going to measure this and cut a piece of like 1 inch by 1 inch sheet metal and put it in the brake, bend it 90, and then we're going to use a shrinker stretcher to create this radius here that'll give us basically the same shape as this, just a little less crappy. All right, cool little scribe tool. If you guys haven't been watching for a while, I did a tools that don't suck, but has it laid out in increments from an 1/8 inch up to an inch, and we can put a perfect 1 inch scribe on this that'll then break into a little 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch piece that we can then use the shrinker stretcher on. So I'll put my little 1/2 inch mark for when I'm breaking it. There we go. Ready? Hope I don't hit anything. That engine I'm not supposed to knock over. That body. Where is it? Don't. So it's going to bend all the way around. All the way around till about there-ish. That's where most of our shrinking is going to occur. Boom, 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 like that. All right, so it's back over here. A little tear there we'll have to weld up, but it's coming around. Pretty damn close. Dang. Looks like I've done this once before. Alright, so we're gonna test fit this here, and we are really close. Just looks like the factory one dives in just a little more. Either that or it's damaged some, I don't know, but dives in a little more. So somewhere right in here we need to do a little more shrink just to get that to come in just a little bit. But I think it is damaged a little bit, so we're not going to go too crazy. Just get this to come in and pinch in just a little bit more. And we also need to do the same thing on this side, so we're going to have to do basically the same process. Break an edge, shrink and stretch, and then all we have to do is make this panel in between that's just like a flat piece we're going to just shape, and then we're just going to connect all these pieces together, and that's a quick way we can do it without some really crazy shaping that would have to happen to make it out of one piece. So we're going to, I think we'll make this one next. I think we can actually make this whole section right here possibly in one shot. We're going to try at least with the flange on it. And and then we can make this piece here all in one section, I'm hoping. And that'll work out pretty good if it goes as planned. But, so. Take a little bit out. That's probably about what I need. All right, so I've been fiddling with this thing for a little while now. This is actually a really difficult part. It's kind of deceiving with everything that's going on. And honestly, it's a little beyond my skill level and tools I have to figure out how to make everything that's going on here. So we have like a reverse curve here. With the panel rolling around here, and it has a flange that wraps around real tight there. It's not as tight there. And we have our opening section, and there's just like a lot going on. So beyond me a little bit, or a lot here. And so what I've decided to do is try and break the part down into like a handful of pieces. Just this is the only way that I'm going to be able to do it and get it to even remotely be close. Because I definitely can't make it out of one piece. I tried making this whole section out of one piece by doing some hammering some on the edges to get it to roll around, and it wasn't going to look how I wanted. So I think it's better for me to make multiple pieces. So what I've done is I had everything set up with like a magnet here with this opening piece we made earlier, and I made a mark here where we're going to actually cut this off here, trim it. Then I could tack weld this to this flange that I made that's fitting pretty good here. I did some shrinking on this inside edge here, and that's what actually started to get my roll going in, so everything's kind of looking good on this piece here. So what I'm going to do is try and get this opening here. I measured, got the car fairly level and got this little opening here measured so that it's about the same as the other side. So I'm going to cut this shape here out of the flange, weld this opening to it, and get that tacked, and then that'll get me rolling in the right direction. Then I think I could probably get this piece here tack welded also, and then I could start maybe filling in the dots. But right now with everything kind of just hovering, it's difficult to see. So that's how I'm going to do this, and then once I get everything kind of tacked together, then I can start hammering and dollying and get everything to kind of flow in the right direction, and then hopefully I can get something that will fit and be weldable back into the car. All right, so I got all my pieces kind of made here. I showed you guys at the beginning, I started tacking some stuff up. Basically what I found is this panel, to make it out of one piece is beyond my capabilities and my understanding. I pounded on a bunch of metal and thought I could sort of figure it out, and I really just made a big giant mess and didn't have a piece that really fit correctly. So what I did is I took some of the pieces that had the shape was kind of going correctly, and we used those. So basically we used this piece that we showed you already, making that fits the curvature of the rear panel. This piece, or actually the opening here, we made that. Then we had this piece here I was hammering on to try and make a big piece, and it didn't work out. So I took that section, welded in, and we're just basically doing quilt work, patch quilt work type welding here. But the nice thing is that this is the bottom corner, has a lot of shape going on, so I can kind of manipulate everything. We'll weld it all up here. I got a lot of the stuff fused together here. I'm going to just do my final welding around everything. Then what I'll do is I'll bump everything out so it's all fitting pretty good, and and we'll grind the welds down, and it should work out pretty well. Just the very time-consuming process because of the making all these little pieces so that everything flows, because there's so much going on in this corner. But in the end, it'll look just fine for this car. For the quality of the car, it's okay. I would do it differently if I was doing a full crazy custom build, but for this, it should be just fine. So I'm gonna get the last of this welded up and sand it down, and we'll do the final process. Alright, so I got everything welded up as you guys saw, went over it with the flap disc, and then went over it with just some 80 grit on the DA, blended everything in. It's not as nice as I like to do things normally on a lot of my other stuff, but in the end, the shape basically fits and works and flows. It's not a giant rotten hole, which is a plus. And yeah, so we got fresh metal in there, which is really great. Now I ran out of time for the video to get the center panel spot welded to the corners here. I need to do a little bit more adjusting around with that to get the trunk to close how I want and the gaps just right. So that's just one of those things that takes like hours to do, and really we can't even show it on camera because it's just me going back, running around in circles and scratching my head. So, but overall, this worked out pretty good. Hopefully you guys could see another way to do this. This is definitely more of a just like down and dirty way. If you need to make a panel that's got crazy shape to it, you can make the big major pieces, get the shape formed into them, then lay them in and start tacking them, cut them to size, and keep tacking and get everything to fit. And then in the end, I was able to just take the hammer and dolly, knock stuff around. I used a slapper a tiny bit, and it all flows pretty good. There's just a bunch of weld seams, which is what bothers me a little bit, but really in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If we want to, we could put a little skim coat of filler on it, block it down, spray it in red oxide primer, dust it with some black paint, and just let it get crappy over time like the rest of the car, and it'll look like it was always there.
It's not crappy.
Beautiful. Perfectly weathered. So yeah, that is a big thing off of my plate once I get that spot welded to the rear panel. I've been dreading doing this corner since like the day we bought the car because it's such a difficult piece to make. So super happy that that's done. So I'm gonna, in between this next video on the Forgotten Hot Rod, I'm gonna work on getting this all spot welded back together so we're good here, done. I can just forget about it. Then what we're gonna do is finally, everybody's gonna cheer right now, we're gonna do the firewall. Yay! Yay! When are you gonna fix the firewall? We're gonna fix the firewall, finally. Now that we got the trunk and the back half of the car good, we can move to the firewall. I think I'm gonna pull the dashboard out more than likely because we need to address, I wanna change out the the windshield frame, the one we have, the chrome's really bad on it. I have one that's just a little less crappy but still weathered. So I want to get the windshield crank working and all that stuff. So might as well pull the dash out. It'll allow me to get to the firewall repair easier, and then we can also get all that stuff working as well. So a lot of stuff to do, but after the firewall is done and fixed, the car's like basically solid and not too hacked up anymore, and we can move on to making it like a real car, do wiring, interior, all that kind of stuff, which is super exciting, and I can't wait to get to that point. So that's all I have for this one. I appreciate you guys following along on the Forgotten 39 Hot Rod project. As always, we do videos on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't. Turn the notifications on, because we have some really, really killer stuff coming for 2020, and you guys do not want to miss what we have coming up. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.